Chaos erupted live on GB News as Keir Starmer's leadership faced explosive new threats. Political correspondent Dan Hodges dropped a bombshell revelation about the Prime Minister's crumbling authority. Behind the scenes, enemies within his own party were leaking damaging messages that could end his premiership. Then came the devastating prediction that stunned Westminster. Starmer may not even survive until next year's elections, as Labour MPs psychologically move on from their leader. Watch the clip. First off, if you haven't jumped on board yet, hit that subscribe button and join this little family that's growing thanks to you.
We're going to return to this side of the pond now because there's a question that is perusing through those corridors of power. Is number 10 falling apart?
The Prime Minister is under pressure after admitting that he was aware of emails between Lord Mandelson and the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, Sir Keir Starmer has blamed his team for not properly briefing him on the contents of emails, and he insists that he will not quit over the scandal.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him. Because what emerged last week were emails, Bloomberg emails, which showed that the nature and extent of the relationship that Peter Mandelson had with Epstein was far different to what I had understood to be the position when I appointed him.
Although those emails were apparently sent before PMQs when he backed his Peter Mandelson. But then he said he didn't see the correspondence because of the time difference. It's almost as bad as Dominic Cummings and the eyes. But listen, the scandal has thrown the Prime Minister's authority and political judgment into question, whilst he says that he...
Catherine Forster joins us there. Catherine, it's pretty trying times for a Prime Minister so freshly in the job.
Yes, it's a nightmare on Downing Street, frankly. Just over a year in, Phase 2 began a fortnight ago. Already, the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, had to resign. He was forced into a major reshuffle. Last week, he had to sack the US ambassador. And just yesterday, his head of political strategy quit over very explicit messages aimed at Diane Abbott that had been had in a private chat. It's an almighty mess, and at the worst possible time when Donald Trump is due to arrive in the UK for his second state visit later on today. And MPs at the moment are having, and one of them, she's chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, she says that they would have liked to have questioned Lord Mandelson before he was appointed, but they were not allowed to do so. But I'm joined now by Dan Hodges from the Daily Mail for more on this. Dan, what on earth is going on at the moment? It's quite incredible, isn't it?
It really is. It's, as you said, it's another terrible day for the guy who lives in the house behind us. I mean, I was up in the gallery watching the debate, and as you said, there were some pretty devastating interventions for the government in that. I mean, David Davis did a very, very forensic and powerful demolition job on Peter Mandelson's political character, and as you said, Emily Thornberry, obviously Labour MP, was being very, very effective in raising questions about the vetting of Peter Mandelson. And I think I think
there's some plotting going on. Tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, Paul Overton was Keir Starmer's Director of Strategy, somebody who's not well known outside of Westminster, but certainly within Westminster it was well liked, well respected, and regarded as one of Starmer's most senior aides. He was forced to resign after a series of private work messages were leaked within Downing Street and amongst Paul Overton's allies. There's a belief they were deliberately leaked by Keir Starmer's enemies on the left. Even more troubling for Downing Street is there's a belief that those people have a cache of a much wider cache of messages from within the Labour Party and the broader Labour Party machine, and they're bracing themselves for more revelations to come.
Obviously not as easy for Labour MPs to get rid of a leader as the Conservatives, but Two questions. First of all, do you think Starmer will lead them into the next election? And secondly, if not, when do you think the sort of maximum danger is for him? Is it May next year, or could it even be sooner than that?
Well, I thought for some time it was becoming increasingly unlikely, even before the current crisis. I thought it was increasingly unlikely Keir Starmer would be able to last the full term. I just can't see it now. I think it's impossible, and I think, frankly, Labour MPs are just simply are sort of starting to sort of psychologically move on from him now. I think you're right. I think the moment of maximum political danger will be the local elections next year. But the reality is Keir Starmer's sort of remaining political capital has been used up in the Mandelson affair. So if there was to be another scandal, if something else was to emerge, obviously we still haven't had sensible or adequate answers from Prime Minister about what he knew in relation to the whole Peter Mandelson saga. But certainly if something else...